It's a lot more high tech than the last time you were on.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Cool. I'm more high tech too. Look, I got an earpiece. Look at that. That's so high tech.
I was gonna say your backdrop looks different. Everything just looks.
Oh yeah, I'm in my office because I don't think we had our new lab when I talked to you guys last. So yeah, this is my new little office in here, which is great.
Look at that.
Nice.
Man, moving up in the world. I actually just re-listened to the episode today. It was episode 91 before even 100 episodes.
Jeez.
And now this is going to be actually episode 210. I took notes because I knew what episode this was going to be.
210.
So 210 and it will drop September 16th. So
I'm writing that down so I don't forget. But I know you'll send it to me, but I'm writing it down anyway.
Couple weeks before the season here in Pennsylvania. I know a lot of people start like September 1st. I saw some people starting. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty exciting. I mean, it's
I think we started in September 1st for Montana too, I think.
Okay. All right. And
bow season.
And before we get into it, Heather, do you want to introduce yourself, who you are, actually? Because we could go on and never introduce you at all.
I know. Yeah, so I'm Heather Stevens. I'm the owner of Wildlife Analytical Laboratories, also known as DeerAge.com.
Yep. And we had Heather on. If for some reason I have to edit the first part out for some odd reason, we had Heather on back in like 2 years ago, I believe it was 2-3 years ago, episode 91. If you want to go listen to that one. Well, I'm not going to try and cover the same stuff that was in that episode, which is why I listen to those, because I'm like, I don't want to cover the same thing over and over and over again, right?
Yeah.
But Deer Age is pretty much exactly what it says. You age a deer.
That's right. That's pretty much it in a nutshell, and very accurately, I might add.
I know Ethan actually got his one of his deer age.
My doe.
Was that the only deer you've gotten last
2 years?
2 years?
Yeah, it's the only one. So I had to get it aged. I had to. I was very, very surprised how old it was. It was 10 and a half years old, doe.
Nice.
And because I remember we guessed and we're like, oh, it's going to be like 4 years old, 5 years old. Like, I don't think anyone guessed over 5.5.
No.
And then it came back. I was like, hey, guys, 10 and a half.
Yeah, that was mind blowing. Like when he said like guess the age, like after he got it back, I was like 8. I think I said 8.
Yeah, because I said it was older than what we thought.
Yeah, so I automatically guessed 8 purely just because the size of the doe itself,
it was a
the body
girl.
size. Yeah.
So I was happy. Now it's like I got to get that again. Like now I'm gonna get like a 4-year-old deer and be like disappointed. Because I had that, like that was my first old deer.
Yeah, it's super fun for sure. And I like a lot of people end up surprised when they get a really old one. I've aged some pretty old stuff, and it's just always exciting when people are like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure. The lines are great. I'm definitely sure."
And I'm sure it's the majority of those really old deer are primarily doe that you're aging. Like, I feel like doe get older.
I would say so, yeah. I mean, we do age some old bucks, too, so it's not like it's, out of the realm of possibility at all. But, I would say primarily it's does. They just tend to get older. People pass on them, obviously. So,
yeah. I mean, that's. I mean, people buy doe tags here in PA and just, like, pass. They just pretty much use it as tag soup. They just, like, they want to make sure other people don't shoot the doe. So, I mean, and plus up at the big woods, they get pretty old. People don't care about them. Like, I even thought about that too, because there's one area where I'm going in pretty deep, and it's like I don't necessarily want to get a doe tag and like go in that deep and shoot a doe and have to quarter out, or if I go back in there, I want to get a buck. Like that's the main thing.
Yeah, You're in it to win it.
Yeah, exactly. Even though the meat is the main reason we hunt, right? But the trophy on the wall is nice.
The trophy is a bonus.
Yes, a huge bonus. So I know when we had you on episode 91, you were not hunting at the time. Has anything changed? Has anything changed with that?
I am still not hunting.
Okay.
I do fish regularly. Okay. I'm a big angler, but no, I don't hunt. I mean, I wouldn't really have time, even if I was interested in it, because we're just so busy during the fall. And what's crazy now, the way things have changed for us, we're busy all summer too. So we're taking in a lot of teeth from state agencies and then working out different partnerships and working on our software and just doing a bunch of different things in the summer. So now I've even become busy with deer age in the summer. So yeah, it's definitely been a lot busier the last couple of years, but no hunting for me. But I am going to antelope camp this year because I really want to. So yeah, my husband goes to antelope camp like every other year or something like that. And I've never gone, and yeah, I just kind of want to go. So yeah, I will be attending camp for a couple of days this year.
So, you going? We need to work on some kind of signal here. Like when
we always like look at each other like what do you got?
Thing or something like that. So, what's the main reason you want to go to this antelope camp? Is it just because you hear how much fun it is at this camp, or what's the reason?
So typically my husband's definitely the solo hunter guy. He doesn't like to hunt with anyone, but he used to take his dad every year to antelope camp. And they would just drive around and look at antelope and then, have a bonfire or whatever. Because it's earlier season, so it's a little bit warmer still and things like that. And his dad actually passed away in 2021. So he hasn't been back since. And I was thinking, it might be kind of lonely for him or he'll be sad. And also I just really like getting out in nature sometimes too. And I have a lot more staff now. So things are a little easier for me to get away for a couple of days, even in the fall. So I thought it's a good time for me to go and give it a try and make sure we have really good food and a nice campfire and all of that. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to do it, and I'll probably like it and end up going next year too. Who knows?
That's awesome. Yeah,
you end up within another year or two, you're gonna get a tag, and you're gonna be the one hunting. I can tell already.
Oh, I don't know.
Is it rifle or bow, or what is it for antelope?
I don't know actually. Okay. You know what? I never asked, but I feel like it has to be rifle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But he'll be bow hunting for elk.
So there we go.
Fingers crossed on that. That one's my favorite.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Why is that one your favorite? Just because the meat?
Oh my God, it's so good. Yeah? Yes. It's like the best meat ever.
Okay.
So yeah, I pull out elk, and I'm always like cooking that up, and he's like, we have deer too. And I'm like, yeah. I know. Like at some point I'll run out of elk and I'll have to use it, but
yeah. So what's your go?
Kill another elk.
What's your go-to meal with elk? Because I've only had it once.
Oh gosh, what? Oh, it's so good. I make a lot of different stuff. I just had elk steak just the other night. I did elk steak and vegetables, and then I make a lot of meatballs actually. So I take like ginger and a bunch of different like garlic and seasoning and make little meatballs and then put that over rice with seasoning. I also turn it into some like Asian dishes sometimes too. I'll do like a Thai basil kind of bulgogi or something like that. So yeah, I love cooking with it. And this year we're like amping up our health a little bit. So we're going to be like reducing the amount of beef that we put into it, and hopefully they have grass-fed beef suet. So yeah, I definitely like the health factor too.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like when I
feel like a total meat snob.
my venison, we don't add any pork into it or any beef into it. Like just pure venison.
Pure, yeah.
And I just grind it up. My wife makes lasagna or meatloaf or tacos or whatever. Like that's what we do. Like because my dad used to do that.
Great.
Yeah, we'd had tacos tonight.
Ooh.
Yeah, tacos.
I don't think I've ever added anything. Just straight deer.
Yeah,
put seasonings and stuff. That's it.
Beef and like I talked to my husband this year, and I was like, well, I'm trying to reduce like my saturated fat intake, so I want to like reduce the amount that we're putting in. And if they don't have grass-fed beef suet, then I want to just leave it out altogether.
Yeah. I mean that's what I think every hunter strives for, is they want to get enough meat in the freezer so you don't have to buy anything at the grocery store.
Yep.
Beef related. Like that's a big price.
We do buy beef sometimes, but we just only buy like a really good ribeye once in a while or something like that, and that's about it.
Yep, a good steak here and there. That's all we really do too. I mean, we buy other things just because my daughter, so like she likes venison, but she doesn't really eat it all the time.
Yeah, I don't think
sometimes.
I don't know the last time I actually bought beef. I mean, my house is chicken, turkey. I mean, Thanks to my wife on that one, but like
Yep.
that's all she really have. But it's like, okay, so if I want any red meat, it's the deer that I don't
Yep.
shoot, but
Yeah.
hey, that's really it. That's it, really. I gotta.
You're going hungry.
I am going. Yeah, I'm on a strict chicken and turkey diet.
Squirrel.
And squirrel. Like,
Very
I still got
lean.
some trout in the freezer. I want to finish that up before hunting season starts. But yeah, that's really it. Chicken and turkey, and then if ever, and then
We just
squirrel.
caught a bunch of whitefish 2 weekends ago, and I had never had whitefish before, and that was really good. We did fish tacos with it, and it was very good.
So you lost me. You lost me at whitefish and fish tacos.
Oh, that'd be so good.
Grossed out.
Oh
It's
yeah.
so good.
Oh, we had.
No, you deep fry the fish with Cajun seasoning, so it's like a little fish fry. And
So-
you put that in the tacos. It's amazing.
So you find a route around it of eating the fish. Like you add all this seasoning so it doesn't taste like fish, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, the whitefish doesn't really taste fishy because I don't like fishy fish either.
Okay.
So, but yeah, the whitefish doesn't really taste fishy at all. I was worried about it, but especially when we do like either pike or perch or whitefish, like a lot of times on the boat, we just like dredge them in flour and then put them in beer batter and then deep fry them really quick and then pop them in a taco with some homemade coleslaw and some cilantro and like a nice little crema or something, and they are amazing.
That sounds good. I tell you what, that sounds good.
Now, when you say whitefish, is that a type of species, or is that like the meat,
Yeah, I
like
think
a white?
it's called
Okay.
a whitefish.
Okay.
Like it's a whitefish. They're very silvery colored and pretty hefty. So
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so Ethan, we're diving into fishing right now.
We're diving the
We're
fish.
diving fish. She doesn't hunt. We're diving into fishing a
Going
little bit
into
before we
fish?
get to deer age.
Good to fish.
So,
I mean, we could talk about hunting. I just am not going to have that much to get into.
Yeah, that's fair.
oh, we'll get into that then. We'll
Yeah.
get into that. But so fishing wise, in the last 2 years, what has been your top trip that you've gone on?
Oh, I wonder if was it okay? I think it was last year. So last year we spent a little too much time and a little too much money, and we were gone for a while. We went to Florida, and then we went to we went to Miami, and then we went to St. Thomas, the Virgin Islands, and then we went back to the Florida. And so Chad and I spent a while in Florida Keys.
Ooh.
And I caught a big, huge shark, and it was so freaking exciting. Well, okay, I say big, huge. For me, it was big, huge. It was like a 6-foot shark.
It's pretty big.
But I was,
Yeah.
I was so excited that I was like, I think I know what buck fever must feel like, because my knees were knocking and I was like, oh my God. And I showed the video to my sister, and she's like, are you crying? And I'm like, dude, it was so exciting. I was so stoked to catch that shark, and my legs were shaking. It was so much fun.
You remember?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Remember what kind of shark it was?
Yeah, I caught a nurse shark.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
so we rented a boat on our own, and then we stayed in this area where you could either zip over to the Atlantic or go out to the Gulf. And so the day that we went, the Atlantic side was really rough, and so we were like, oh, let's just go under this bridge or whatever. We heard that sharks would cruise back and forth, and so we both caught a shark. Mine was bigger, but that's beside the point. It was
You don't have to let
super
him know you said that.
Nope.
That's all right.
Yeah, it was super fun. It was super fun. And then the next day, it was hilarious story. We got up early and went out to the reef, and we knew that all morning was going to be rough seas, but then it was going to calm down. And I actually get seasick, but I was like, oh, I've got this. This is going to be so awesome. It's totally fine. So we get out there and it's pretty rough, right? It's going all over the place. And I'm like, whoa, I can't even walk on here. Well, it wasn't too much longer. I am harfing over the side of the boat so hard. And then he'd catch something, and I'd go running over to take pictures and grab the net. And then I'd be barfing over the side. And then I'd be running over and he's like, are you good? Are you good? And I'm like, I'm totally good. I'm totally good. And he's like, Jesus. And I'm just kind of I don't care. This is so much fun. So I'm just powering through it, just barfing and fishing and barfing and fishing. And then I caught an eel, which was so cool and gross at the same time. And then probably by like mid-afternoon, Chad started going, I'm kind of not feeling that good either. And I was just like, I think I've had enough. Like, I've been puking for hours. We went back over to the Atlantic side, and I was like, let's try to catch another shark.
Oh my gosh.
We only had the boat for 2 days, and I was like, I'm not missing this.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, I mean, when Ethan and I went shark fishing, it was the same way. Like, I get seasick, and we weren't having any action. We weren't having any action, and then I started throwing up, and then we started having action. So
you chum in that water, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. That's what the captain said. He was like, you were chumming that water, and that's what brought him in. And then
you had a good breakfast.
We caught what? Did we caught 5? Because there's 4 of us on there.
Yeah, we caught 5 sharks total.
Yep. And we all took a turn on the last one.
Yeah, because that was the biggest one, right?
It was the biggest one. Of course, was dead last, and we're all like dead tired after like reeling in our own shark. Like I think
11 foot.
Mine. I went first, and I got the black tip, the 5-foot black tip.
Mm-hmm.
And then you went, and I think you got a smaller black tip.
Yeah, I think I caught the smallest shark.
Yeah, you
did. I caught the small one.
It was like 4 foot, but still, like they put up like the black tip sharks. So for anyone who doesn't know, black tip fight a lot. Like they're pretty much like I would consider, maybe if you're just a stream fisherman, a bass. Like they'll fight really hard at the beginning, and then you gotta like just reel them up because it just run out of fight.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also caught sand tigers too, which are the bigger ones. So we caught like, I think it was an 8-foot.
Yep.
8-foot sand tiger, and that thing was massive. And like, of course, the last one we catch is that big, and of course is the hardest one to catch because with sand tigers, they use their body weight. So like they'll go straight down on the ground, and they'll like try and dig themselves into the sand.
It's like an anchor.
Yeah, so you gotta like...
It's like trying to get a carp out of the water.
Oh, no, we only caught 4 sharks.
Only caught 4?
My dad caught that little stingray that he thought was a shark.
Oh, yeah.
Because they'll do the same thing as sand tigers, is they will dive down.
They'll try and go down in the sand.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, so when you reel it up, you automatically feel like you have a really big shark because it's like, oh man, this is a big fight.
Weight, yeah.
And then all of a sudden my dad's like reeling in, like, this is pretty easy now. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you see this like skip. This little stingray just coming across the water. Yay.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, that was pretty exciting.
Super fun.
Yeah.
I saw this reel online where these people caught this really tiny little shark. I mean, it was like this big. It was like a little cute little hammerhead. And I told Chad, I was like, oh man, next time we go shark fishing, I want to catch one of those and then put my arm in its mouth so it bites me. And he's like, what the hell are you talking about? And I was like, that way when people are like, how was your trip? I can be like, oh, I got bit by a shark. And he's like, what are you, nuts? He's like, that's probably you get infected. I was like, yeah, but how cool is that story? Oh, I got bit by a shark on my trip.
There's a few moments where like I have thoughts, like I think I'm braver than what I think, because like in my in my mind it's like, man, I'd really love to swim with a great white shark, just swim with one. But then reality strikes, and then it's like, you're in that moment, and you're like, I don't want to fucking swim with that thing.
No. We watched like Shark Week is like my wife's favorite animal in the whole wide world are sharks, right? Shark Week is like the Super Bowl or the Olympics to her. Like it is when Shark Week is happening, you do not talk to her, you do not distract her. She's
like, this is serious.
And if you're gonna sit down and watch any TV after a certain amount of time, it's gonna be sharks, whether you like it or not. I have no control over during that whole week. So it's like, I'd watch the sharks on the show, and I was like, no, I wouldn't get in the water with them, even in a cage. I'm like, you crazy. And she wants to do it.
Oh, she wants to get in a cage.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
She wants to do it. Because she wants to go to, what is it, South Africa?
She can't
That's
eat
where
red
all the
meat.
great whites are, and that's a medical
Africa?
reason.
No
She can't eat red meat, but damn it, she wants to get in that cage.
Yep, she wants to get in that cage. She's so happy.
Good for her.
That's her favorite thing.
Yeah, that is not something I'm going to participate in. I'm definitely going to stay inside the boat. Yeah. Particularly in Florida, they're like infested with sharks. There's no chance I'm getting in that damn water.
No.
But when we went to the Virgin Islands, like they just have like littler sharks and stuff, like reef sharks and stuff. So I snorkel around there, and that's great. But yeah, I'm not getting in.
One thing that surprised me was like, so the Olympics obviously just ended. I didn't watch a single lick of the Olympics.
No.
Didn't watch one thing.
I didn't either.
I was going to watch breakdancing, but I just decided not to. It just seems like it was wrong to watch that.
Tell me you've at least seen some of the gifs that people have made and the funny memes or something, because that's worth it.
I've heard about the one girl from Australia. That is absolutely terrible.
Yep.
It's so bad.
Maybe in the YouTube video I'll make a note of that at the very end here. I have to add a little clip of that in here.
Just like rolling
in the corner, just like dancing in the corner.
The shark, when I try to reel it in, it's her.
Her breakdancing, like flopping around the ground. Yeah.
crazy. You should definitely do that.
I'll try my magic with that. But no, like they were where they're surfing at. Obviously, in Paris, they don't have water to surf in. So I think they were going to, where was it? Some offshore island that is owned by the French.
Yeah.
And I was like, where they were at, I've heard of other shark attacks there, and I'm like, what if a shark attacks someone on while the Olympics is going on? Like,
Wow.
that would be
crazy.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
That would be insane.
Like,
it's like
oof.
Shark Week meets the Olympics.
Yes. Oh man, my wife would be happy. She'd be like, "Oh,
She'd be
2
like,
and
I'm all
1.
about
Oh,
this.
someone
She
just
watching that
died.
thing
Someone
on
just
loop.
died." Root for the go shark, go! I believe in you.
Yeah. So speaking of
He just
sharks,
got a gold medal.
Yes,
he was the best surfer.
he was the best one.
So speaking of sharks, deer age. Can you age? Would you be able to age a shark? Like, is that something that you could do?
No.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. I don't think so. So the shark's teeth are constantly falling out, so we certainly wouldn't be able to age them by their teeth. But like
True.
other fish, you can age by their gills and things like that. I don't
Okay.
specifically know sharks where we would need to age them, and that would require me to do some extra digging.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's probably possible. I
Yeah.
just haven't looked into it. But yeah, their teeth are constantly falling out, so that wouldn't work out.
That's very interesting. I didn't know that sharks'
Mhm.
teeth fall out nonstop. I thought maybe it was like our teeth, like when the ones you find are like baby teeth, and they have adult teeth, something like that.
Oh yeah, no, they're constant. That's
No,
why you
they're
can go
always
and.
constantly going through.
Oh yeah, that's
Yep.
why you can always go and find them at the beach
Hmm.
and like there's certain spots where sharks are a lot. Like we went down, there was a place in Maryland, place in New Jersey. I mean, you can go, and then you'll constantly find fresh shark teeth just anywhere.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look for them,
Right.
but oh yeah, you can always find
I did
them.
not know that. I did not know that. So why? I mean, this could be just, you might not know the answer to this, but like, why do shark teeth fall out and like a deer's teeth do not? I wonder. Like, is it just because it's just how they are?
Well, that's just how they are. I would assume that it's probably because of like the fact that sharks need to keep sharp teeth all the time, right?
Yeah.
Whereas deer need to be able to grind and munch their food, so they probably are good with their teeth getting kind of ground up and staying where they're at. Versus, it'd be hard to eat if all their teeth were falling out all the time.
Yeah. It would be bad for the growth of a deer. Put it that way. If the teeth were falling out all the time, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
But
there's
it
John,
works
lost
out
a
for
tooth.
The shark, I guess.
Yeah. Put it underneath his pillow at night. We'll know where they sleep, right? Because the teeth would just be underneath their pillows every night.
Yeah.
It's like perpetual tooth fairy night.
Oh, that was a fucking dad joke.
That
if I
was
ever-
bad.
that was wow. That,
Wow.
You find a buck bed, like, oh, look at all these teeth in here.
oh, this must be a really mature buck.
He's at least 5.
Oh, clip that.
And I know that.
Yes, and I know it.
Okay. Okay. Oh, man. We need to get back on track here. Okay, so deer age. So you guys came out. We got the ultimate kill kit. We'll start with that first.
Yes.
Yeah.
You talked about that the last time you were on. And
Yes.
it's finally out. People can get it, right? People can order it online.
Yes. They
Okay.
can order it online.
Yeah.
It has been unleashed to the
Yep.
public.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been really fun. It's been well received.
Mhm.
We like how it came out. I don't really like how the packaging came out. Like in retrospect, I think we probably would have done something different, but it's out now, so it is what it is. But
Yeah.
the product itself is amazing.
Oh yeah.
And lightweight, comes with like more than what you could probably need actually.
Mhm. Yeah. It's a lot of stuff in there. Like, to
There's
be honest,
a
like
lot of goodies. There's
the
a
one-
lot.
the one thing, and I know your husband runs the social media page still, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was messaging him a little bit because like I was like, when I did the video, I completely forgot that there was a knife sharpener in here, and I was like, wait, where was the knife sharpener at? Like I emptied every single pocket, and it was actually underneath.
Oh wait, there's more.
I was like, it was underneath the paracord.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, this the pockets are
There's
endless.
so much stuff in there. I know,
Yeah.
and it's still so lightweight and compact.
Yep.
You know, he worked really hard on the design of that to make sure that it wasn't going to be something bulky, but really organized. Because, you know, over the years he had just worked on it because he's like, God, I just hated. I would always forget to pull out one thing, and then I'd be digging in my damn bag with dirty hands and getting blood all over the place. He's like, and with this, like, you can just hook it on a tree and everything flops open, or you can lay it on the ground and you're not going to lose it because it's bright orange, because he's had some lost in the evening hours.
Yes, I mean, the knife was a brilliant idea because I have multiple times, you have no idea, multiple times I got a deer or something, and I'm done, I'm packing up, and I'm like, where's my knife? And of course, every hunter, you can ask any hunter, it's green, black, or brown.
Yep.
Or camouflage.
Or camouflaged. I have all 4 of those, and I seem to like, it falls in leaves, and like I'm looking for it, and it's like this thing here will stand out like a sore thumb.
You're not going to lose that.
Yeah.
That's what he wanted. He's like, there's so many times where I've lost crap because I just didn't see it. And he's like, and I just wanted it to be really bright so that people wouldn't lose anything when they're gutting something nice and light or packing out and it gets late and then your stuff's still there. So yeah, I think it's really practical. Yeah, we like it.
Yeah,
we like it a lot. And then there's a little mesh bag to stick your teeth in, so you don't lose those. That's the little zipper. Yeah.
Yep. With the little 10% discount, everyone gets in there when they get one of these, which is pretty cool. My question was this. Okay, why do the wipes have to have aloe? Like, is that? Chad wanted the aloe because he feels it's more moisturizing. So he was like, "Oh, I'm getting the aloe in there." Okay, I was just
moisturizing wipes.
When I looked at it, I was like, I don't really know the benefits of having aloe wipes, but I'm sure there's something there.
It's good. It's good. So much more moisturizing.
Because that's one thing my wife always says. Like, you need to moisturize more.
Oh, there you go. Just start using those deer age wipes.
You got dry, clammy hands.
No, she said that about like my knees and my elbows this past weekend, and I was like,
got ashy knees.
I guess. I don't know.
Get some lotion, man.
Put some aloe
Get
wipes
some aloe on there. Yeah,
get
some
one
aloe.
of those deer age wipes on there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Take it. She's like, what are you doing? You're like, I'm getting aloe. I'm moisturizing.
Moisturizing. Yeah.
I'm doing what you said.
Doing what you said, damn it. So that was a cool pack. Love that. And I think
Glad you like it.
I think the one thing that also was very beneficial that may actually be overlooked by a lot of, I know in general, Pennsylvania hunters, we have one of the hardest tags to write on with a pen.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And I think if this is a gel pen, that will 100% work.
Sure it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'll work
nonstop.
nonstop.
I really thought of like a lot of different things when he put this together.
Yeah.
Just like everything. He's just that way. He's very, 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 very detail oriented.
Yep.
So he was just kind of like wanting to think of everything to make it to where you're going to have what you need for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that it's a everything kit, put it that way. So
it's an everything kit.
Let's go to the teeth here. So the teeth you put in the mesh pocket.
You can just keep them safe until you go get your kit if you haven't ordered it already.
Yeah. So
you don't know how many times I hear my dog ate my teeth.
Oh wow, that's a first. I never heard that one before.
Oh geez.
It happens a lot.
So what teeth are preferred for everyone who's listening? What teeth are preferred?
The front lower incisors, the very front two bottom buck teeth. We need those. With the root attached. The top of the tooth does not matter. We need the root. That is the most important thing.
Okay.
So, and they're pretty easy to pop out when the harvest is fresh. And then a lot of people put them in a Ziploc bag, but definitely don't do that. Pop them out and, like I said, either throw them in a mesh bag like that or a paper envelope, leave them on the counter and just let them dry out, because then they won't stink. If you put them in plastic bags, they start to stink.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you get them, and then you just...
They stink a lot by the time they show up here.
Oh, I can imagine.
I'm sure.
Our new laboratory, when we designed it at the check-in station, we actually have a fume hood specifically to put stinkers in when they show up.
Stinkers.
So that they don't get separated from their batch and get like, lost in the process. But like when people, just cut off a whole head and send that in or something and it's rotten by the time it shows up, we stick that in the hood.
People send in a whole head? You got to be kidding me.
No, but I have had a whole muzzle.
Whole muzzle?
Ooh.
Like the snout of a deer?
All of it, yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, I guess they wanted to make sure you got enough stuff to work with, I guess.
In this instance, less is definitely more.
Yeah.
Public service announcement for deer age here.
Less is more.
Less is more.
You don't want rotten flesh.
Just cut the bottom jaw off. If you cut the jaw off and send that in if you really don't feel that confident.
Take the lips off too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just need the
Get a little gums flapping on you.
Yeah.
No
It's not that hard to take the two front teeth out of a deer. Well, I haven't personally done it yet.
I have.
There you go. You can speak on it.
It's not hard. It's not. You just take your tip of a knife, and you cut down the middle. Yep. And then, if you have to do the edges, but once you cut down the whole way down, they loosen up pretty good, and then you can just...
Well, because the jaw...
From the inside out.
Yeah, and then wiggle them out, and you're good.
Because the jaw right here, I have a little possum skull.
Aww.
Yep. But you can just cut down the middle right there, and the jaw will actually come apart. The bottom jaw will come apart.
Yeah, same with the deer.
Yep. So it's fairly simple. I would hope, because when I do it this year, simple's better. But
it's easy.
Yeah. So you want two? You sent in two, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So everything is filed. So 2 teeth are sent in. They're both cleaned, and then one is used, and the other one is filed. So if there's any problem with the first one, because things can happen, right? Even when you're cutting it on our machine, it can chip out of the block and break. And so sometimes we'll have to grab the second one and then run the second one. So we like to have a second one on hand. And then also, if anyone ever has a question like, oh, I think this was older or younger or whatever, we'll look at the slide first to see if it's a very good slide and like really clear. And then if not, if it's like, oh, that this person has a convincing story and it's kind of more of a judgment call on this slide, then we'll grab the second one and run it and then just try to confirm the age that way just to see how it comes out. And then, so I always do a second tooth in instances where someone's facing a large fine. So like if someone's facing a large fine or getting kicked off their hunting land or something, I tend to do a second one just to make sure that like they're not getting unnecessary consequences. So
do you get that often? Like, because that makes sense, because when we went to an outfitter, like they want a certain type of deer shot at some point, right? Like score wise, but I haven't necessarily heard of an outfitter or a property saying, oh, you need to shoot a 4.5 or better, but yet I have like other people I've heard that through. I would never go there, because it's like that's just so hard to tell on the hoof an age of a deer.
It is really hard to tell, and I do caution them all the time to really consider carefully what they're asking. And like I think for hunting clubs it's more valuable because like they are working together with management and they are learning together, so they're all like managing the land. But it can be a slippery slope because, for example, we've had in the past an instance where these people were setting in teeth regularly and they shoot, 4.5 or above, whatever. Well, then a bunch of their teeth aged at 3.5, and they were like, hey, you need to, take another look at these or whatever. And I was like, no, they're definitely 3.5. And so they were kind of like fussy about it. And I was like, well, are you doing management? Like, when did you start? I'm like, oh, 3 years ago, we started doing this. And I was like, well, yeah, now the deer are starting to look like they're 4.5 at 3.5. So now you're going to have to change your target because it is evolving the way you want it to evolve. You want this to happen. That's a good thing. Right. So I always caution people, don't just blanketly be, fining people unless it's something blatant. You know what I mean? Like if, someone's shooting a spike or something that is like, obviously there's no way to mistake that for being a 4-year-old or something like that, then yeah, but it's a slippery slope. I don't really like it. And that's why I do take a little bit of extra caution to make sure that I'm doing everything I can to not, be judge and jury, basically.
Yeah. Now I've seen so many, even just posts on Instagram, like, oh, this is a nice 3.5-year-old deer. And I'm looking, I'm like, I mean, you got a rack out to here looking nice. I'm thinking, okay, that's a managed property. They've been putting in work for an X amount of years. That makes sense.
Exactly.
But you see a buck like that on public land, especially here in like that's not 3, that's older.
Yeah.
You typically that's an older deer, so it's hard to. Yeah, you gotta really be careful.
It is, and that's where you have to really know your area, and you kind of got to know what your, if you are doing managed land, like what is your goal, what is your plan, what are you trying to accomplish, and things like that. So it's again the fine thing. I'm always just like, oh, it's a slippery slope. You know what I mean? Don't go too crazy with it unless it's blatant, in my opinion.
Yeah, because when we went down, when me and my dad and my grandfather went down to North Carolina, we it was 2 buck limit was down there, 1 doe, and then they had a management farm, but they only wanted 7-point or better shot. So like they didn't do the age thing, but it was like 7-point or better. So it was a lot easier at that moment, which I think that would be the better way to go for a lot of management places.
Yeah.
You see 7, 6 or better or something like that. Like it's
exactly
go from there.
Well, and that's where taking this data that we're trying to get put together for people so that they can, if they're managing land, they can say, okay, our average 4-year-old is, weighs this much, has this many points, scores approximately this. And so they're kind of coming up with like a little profile for what that age bracket is, so that if they're wanting to get above a certain age bracket, then they kind of have that mapped out a little bit better.
Yeah.
So that they can use those visual cues for their area for what they need to be targeting.
Absolutely. So this is a question that literally just popped in my head right now, and I don't know if you can do this with deer or not. Like, if you tranquilize a deer, can you take the 2 bottom teeth out or 1 bottom tooth out and get that age to know the exact age of that deer? So like say it's a management farm, right?
Yeah.
Is that?
I think can and should are probably
right.
2 different things.
Yeah.
So like I would say, yeah, you probably can. I don't know that you necessarily should, because now you got a toothless deer running around out there trying to eat. But yeah, I mean, you could do something like that.
Just because, I mean, if you take, I don't think it would affect the deer all that much. Like if I'm talking like if you're a management farm with fenced in area and you're trying to people are paying you a lot of money to come on this farm, and like you only want them shooting a 4 or above, like, if you don't know this buck and you got it from somewhere else, like how old truly is it? I'm guessing it's a possibility to do that.
Aging post-mortem can kind of do that, though. I mean, like if you're just automatically sending in anything that comes in off that farm, you're going to get that profile after not very long.
Yeah. So pretty much,
wouldn't have to.
Pretty much, you think the same, like, so we'll use PA for example. Like, since we're in PA, makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of people say like sloped in back. Squared off rump or other things like that are characteristics of like an older buck. Do you see that? Like, do you like people sending pictures or something like that? Like, do you see that more, or like what are you seeing?
So I would say that I think that first of all, I think we need to just kind of clarify how much of these deer I'm really looking at. Yeah. And not much is the answer, right? Because I'm just looking at the teeth primarily. Anyone here that's aging them is looking at the teeth. The only people really that get to see a lot of deer are like Chad, who's doing our social media, and Amanda, who's doing our social media. But just off of observations from the ones that I do get to see, right? Because I am still seeing them sometimes when customers are sending in their pictures. It is difficult for me to say yes or no on that, because it's all trophy pictures, right? So a lot of people that are sending in, they're staging it to look like it's the biggest trophy ever, right? And then, they're, all of that. Arms. So it's kind of like, that's why I don't take anything for granted, and I don't even really use pictures at all to do any aging, because it's useless, right? If someone's going to hold their bass out this far, it's only this big, I mean, it's the same kind of thing with deer. I can't really let that bias my opinion. Like, I'm really basing it on the science of the lines, and if the customer feels there's been an error, I will consider hearing why they think that, and pull another tooth, look at the tooth again, and try to put those puzzle pieces together. But overall, I think the lines just keep us very unbiased and just more consistent.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And then as far as like aging on the hoof, I think I just believe that it's variable. So I think that everything that everyone has really learned over the years has been based on molar wear aging, which we know isn't true, right? We know it doesn't work. We know it's not accurate. And I mean, with one of these fine instances, I literally just proved it was accurate. They had a biologist stomping his feet that this deer was not this old. And I looked at the lines and it was indeed that old. So we know that type of aging is inaccurate. So if you're basing all of these body characteristics on an inaccurate science, a deer that has this, sloped back or something could actually be 8 or 9 or 10 or 11, right? Because that's like the capabilities of that type of aging. So I think by aging more regularly and like learning your area, you are going to get more of a feel for what they're like and what you're shooting right in your area. So I think there's more variability. It's not just one size fits all for every single hunting area.
Yeah.
And then I also think just ultimately like the way that those body characteristics, like I'm not going to say, oh, none of that's true. I think people have done this long enough to really have a good idea of some things. But overall, I think that, it's based on a flawed science. So I think we need to continue like honing that in. And that's where I had come up with the theory that I don't think that maturity is really at like 5.5. Like if you're wanting the big rack, it's definitely older in my opinion, because of what I've seen just in my observations. So I would say 7, 8, 9 is probably more the target, but it's hard to let a deer sit there and go that long, especially if you're competing with other people that are like, oh, that rack's good enough for me. You know, it's plenty good for my wall. So, so it just kind of all depends on where you're at, what you're hunting. Are you on private land? Are you not?
Yeah.
Are you managing? Are you not? Like there's so many different variables that can impact all of it.
Yeah, I agree with that because I mean you always see people arguing like how old a certain deer is. Like I've seen like on all the Facebook pages, right? And it's always like they probably base it off like the size of the rack of like how old is this deer, and like I have some big buck on camera and it's like he doesn't really look that old. Like it just could be just what he's eating in that area. Like it all just depends. Like.
Yep.
And I want to go back to, because I know what you're talking about with the molars, with the teeth grinding down. And like there's almost like you look at a deer, you kill a deer per se, and you see the teeth are wore down to pretty much nothing. Is that what you're talking about with like the age of that, or the subjective science of wear aging, right? Is that they're really subjectively looking, and it's just completely inaccurate because based on what the deer is, that can impact how quickly their teeth wear out. Based on their genetic factors, they might have osteoporosis or whatever, and their teeth are going to wear down faster. And I've seen a little of everything. I mean, I aged an 18-year-old doe and had 0 wear. I'm talking 0. Like, wow. You would think at 18 there would still be some wear of some kind. None. It looked like any other tooth from any other like 4-year-old. So I've seen everything at this point to where I know confidently that wear aging just isn't going to work. It's just not. I mean, now aging like replacement so that you can determine if a deer how old they are when they're below 2.5 years old. That's better actually than cement and annuli aging. If a deer is below 2.5 years old, it's very quick. You can look in the mouth, do some quick analysis and you're done. Like it's very fast, but above 2.5, it's just not going to be accurate, especially the older you start getting, the less accurate it is. So. Yeah. Cause I've seen that in a few magazines where it's like, oh, you look at these teeth right here, you see how far they're down, you do this calculation, and that's how old the deer is. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like in my mind, it's like, okay, it makes sense because I'm not a scientist. I'm not looking at this stuff. In my mind, to the average hunter, it's like, okay, that makes complete sense. Or like a few books have like this, the rump, the slump, the roundness, all that kind of stuff of a deer's body. But like you're saying, I think the only real way to know it is to really harvest those 3.5-year-old deers, four and a half year old deer, to like, and then send it to you and see how truly old it is, right?
Exactly.
And then that's like the best way to do it, like, or a 10-year-old doe, like send that in. Now Ethan knows what a 10-year-old doe looks like in the woods.
Right.
At least the
well,
one,
and also by sending in the does, you can kind of really ascertain like how old they can get in your area, right? So if every doe you're aging is like, 4 or 5 and you're not getting those older ones, well, then maybe that's all your bucks are really ever going to get either, or they could just be 3 because everyone's targeting them, right? So it is going to be more area dependent,
Yeah.
Sometimes there's more hunting pressure, sometimes there's not, sometimes you're on private land and it's really great. So no, it's there's no one size fits all in my opinion, and that's where my aging can help anyone depending on their goals, right? So you have to figure out like what you're trying to attain for your area and then use the aging to get you there.
Now let me ask you this, because Chad hunts, your husband hunts.
Chad does hunt.
So
he does.
And he runs the social media page and he posts about all these deer that are being aged at a certain age. So is there one that ever crossed his path that he was like, holy shit, like that's that old, when he actually maybe was like surprised by it? Like, do any stick out in your mind that he really brought up?
No, he gets excited about really good pictures because like they'll do really well on Instagram. So like I think that's like what, or like just something really crazy, he'll get excited about that, but not as far as age goes, because I think at this point we've been doing it long enough to where literally nothing's surprising at this point. Like I think if I aged a huge buck that was like 25, I'd be like, holy shit, right? I'd be like, whoa,
hold on now.
Yeah, okay. The game's changing here, right? But like nothing at this point really kind of surprises either one of us. And that's where like I don't get ruffled when people are like, oh, there's no way this deer is this old or that old because it was this big or that big. And I'm just kind of like, I'll look again, but I'm just telling you right now, I've seen it all.
Yep. That's what the science tells you.
Yep.
That's what the science. Sorry, the lines are the lines.
Yep. But what's so like public land hunting, I get it, or even on my property. I mean, it's private property, but I'm getting all the deer from public land essentially, right?
Yeah.
How many deer, if you would say a number, would I have to harvest, send in teeth, get aged, so that I can be like, okay, this is what roughly a 4-year-old buck looks like. This is what a 6-year-old doe looks like. Is there like a general number, or is it all variable?
I guess it's kind of all over the map because like how much are you hunting? How much are you allowed to harvest? Are you going out with friends and you and all your friends are harvesting, so you're all sending in 5 or 6 per year? Like that might get you there, so it just kind of depends. And also, how good are you at judging the size and the things like that? Like, are you one of those guys that, when you walk up, it's like a lot smaller than it was in the scope?
Guilty.
I mean,
Guilty.
Wait a minute, that was bigger when I shot it. That's not the buck I shot. Where is it?
That's not the doe I shot. That's spots.
Yeah, whoops.
So I think that it's really going to vary a lot in that respect, because some people might need a little bit more practice.
Ethan, I think if my thought is like, okay, so you have your dad, you have you, I have a doe tag. If all 3 of us shoot roughly the same size doe in the area, in the WMU, I would say. Yeah. And they come back to that same age, and it's like, okay, we know what this age of deer looks like
in our area.
Then we go from there. We just try and shoot for that same characteristics, same, look of doe. Buck is a little harder to judge because, like, when I see a nice buck walk by with a nice rack, I can't really hold back and be like, did Ethan shoot this size buck?
Yeah, like, this one was 4 years old last time I shot it. This one looks about the same.
Last time I shot,
yeah. Do I want to hold out for a 5-year-old that has 1 extra point on it? Like,
well, that's the thing. Like, you can't judge it by the rack. Like, it's just like, it's a pure, like, you could have a really small buck that is really old.
Well, I saw one on your Instagram page. It was like a 10-year-old buck. I think it was Maryland. This was maybe a month ago, and it was like a little. I mean, the rack was nothing, but you could tell it was an old. Like it had an old man face.
Old man.
Well,
face.
and we took some heat on Instagram. Like I don't know how long ago it was, but people were like, I guess like poking fun, saying like, "Oh, we had aged this one wrong because it looked really big in the picture." And I don't typically pay attention to that kind of stuff because I most of the time just don't have time. And also I get a little feisty. So I was just like, whatever. But I thought, okay, for my own peace of mind, I'm going to pull the second tooth and age it. And it was the right age.
Yeah.
Like it was 3, but it just looked really big in the picture. And I think it was one of those instances where the dude was holding it a little closer to the camera. And
of course.
So it looked a little bit bigger, And so I was like, okay, I feel good about it. And like, so that every once in a while we'll get something weird like that where I'm like, let me check again. But nope, we were right. And I was just like, well, good thing I just didn't like start chewing heads off or anything. I just moved on with my life. I didn't even post the pictures of the tooth. I'm like, you could just think whatever you want to think. I don't care.
I think you should start making requirements for pictures. Like you got a T-Rex arm, the rack. So you got to like really have short arms where it comes back here. Yep. I think you got to make requirements for
Camera has to be at least 10 feet away, not zoomed in.
Yep. No 0.5.
Exactly.
Yeah, no 0.5, nothing.
No
Yes.
0.5.
Yeah. I think that would be or just not even post. Like I know the algorithm and everything like that. It's like, oh man, like people want to see big buck or whatever, that's the big thing. But yet I think if you just post like the lines, just post the lines without even a picture of the deer.
It's like super hard with Instagram because so many people actually, we get so many pictures and obviously like we don't even know how to get to everybody, honestly. It's so many. And then people will be like, hey, like how come mine hasn't been posted yet? Could you post mine? And then it's like, oh, you feel bad because it's like, dang, we just can't really get to everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we're trying to choose like the nicest pictures that already have really good color, eye-catching stuff like that, so that it stays engaging and or cool stuff. You know what I mean? Like if there's something really cool that we think people want to see, yeah. And I don't know. I stay out of the social media world. Chad's really taken that over, which has been really great. So I think I told you in the email. So he actually drives train for a living. So he's an engineer. And so he gets stuck in the hotel all the time with literally nothing to do and nowhere to go. And he's there for hours, sometimes 27 hours, right? He's just stuck there with nowhere to go.
That's such an odd number, 27 hours, not even 24, it's 27.
Hours.
Wow.
27. Yeah, sometimes longer, but usually not longer, thank God. But so he like needs something to do. He's one of those guys that's always building and active and doing stuff, so he just goes completely crazy. And so I was like, well, we have this social media stuff that kind of needs to be done. And so he took a laptop and he's teaching himself to make commercials and do video editing and putting stuff together with sound and all this stuff. And so he's getting really into it. So it gives him something to do while he's in the hotel. And it's like something I can't really do for more than one reason.
Yeah.
And so, it's just been working really great. And then through that, we've just kind of like built a stronger business partnership, which I didn't think I would ever do because I don't share super well. Turns out I grew up kind of like spoiled, so I don't really share. And so it was really weird, like working together as a couple at first. I'm like, dude, get out my business, right? Like this is my thing. But then it's also kind of like, but I don't hunt, so I kind of need your help. And so so then eventually it has just melded into this thing where now we actually have shared notes where we have business meetings and he's handling certain things and I'm handling certain things, and we actually have to get together as business partners and have meetings where I'm going, okay, are you doing this? Are you doing that? What's the status of this and that? And so it's working really, really well that we have our together, but separate divisions.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That sounds amazing. Now, I mean, I've noticed that Wildlife Labs on Instagram has blown up to 80,000 plus followers now, which is insane because I think I don't even want to say like a couple months ago it was like 9,000, and then all of a sudden it's like bam, 83,000.
Yeah, we're doing really well. Like it's catching a lot of traction, and we're kind of getting some attention. And We recently did a partnership with the National Deer Association. So
Huge.
I'm sure that's helped too. We have a couple others in the works that aren't finalized yet, but some pretty big names that we'll be doing some partnerships with. So that's kind of the stuff we've been working on over the summer, and also trying to wrap up our new software. I tell you what, I was so excited about the new software, and I'm already software depleted. And
is
I'm
this
like,
the same software that we were talking about 2 years ago that you were working on?
Well, no. So I fired that guy, and I got a new guy.
Okay.
And we started over, and it's way cooler. Like the look, the feel. There's more stuff to do, but like there's still so many glitches, and I really wanted it rolled out before season. And so I'm just like, once again, I'm in this software nightmare.
Yep.
Like just trying to get something cool for our customers, for God's sakes. Like, because obviously it works, right? We can process orders fine. Like our software is fine.
Yeah.
But like we want it to be cool too,
Right.
not just fine. Like we want it to be cool. So we're putting in all these features where you can like, and I don't know, like try not to do too much here, but like where you can start tracking some of your hunting metrics, right? So you can be like, okay, this was the wind direction and the temperature and the moon phase and all that stuff, and then it'll put it together for you. Like your most successful time of day and your most successful moon phase and things like that. So we're trying to like bring in that kind of planning aspect. And then you have, instead of just like your sample list, you have like a trophy room of the ones you've harvested it. And then like a hit list of ones you're planning to harvest with, like, so you can put all your trail camera pictures and then just transfer them over to your harvested deer. And then more statistics where we're trying to give you access to not just like the leaderboard, but like you can see, you know, what like, for example, there's like a little pie chart that'll say, you know, 20% of the deer we age are 5.5 or whatever. And so to kind of tell you what range you're falling in when you get your age. And we're working on this thing between the score and the points, like to see like, okay, if a deer's 4.5, like what is the average score or whatever. But it's becoming a major challenge because not everybody puts that in. And so it's like throwing off the algorithm, and like we're struggling to get it to work. And so I'm kind of like at this point where I'm like, well, I might just ditch that for now until we can figure it out and just still like launch before it's perfect and just kind of keep adding features. Cause overall it's still like better than what we have now. And then we also are working on, like a little bit more customization of the certificates. So I don't know if you've ordered one of the aging certificates, but there's no real visual of what you're customizing. Like you just kind of put in the fields and then you can like see a preview before you check out. And we're working more towards like a live preview. So you can like see what you're editing, and then also like a couple different backgrounds. So we're actually working on getting some backgrounds from Ryan Kirby. I don't know if
I've heard of him. Yep.
Yeah, he's a wildlife artist. So he's doing a couple different backgrounds for us so that, you know, we've only traditionally had the one deer in the background, but now we want to have a couple more options because people are aging a lot of stuff. They're aging elk and bear and everything else. So we want to have a few more options for people to kind of shake up their certificate a little bit. So that's all in my software nightmares. I have a meeting at 6 a.m. tomorrow to discuss why this stuff isn't working yet. Because season is breathing down my neck.
Once that all gets figured out, the really it's endless what you could possibly do. Like you could do like tournaments or something like that, where it's like, you know, the oldest.
What I really want to do. I want to do games.
Yeah, like the oldest scoring, the oldest buck aged, plus the score of that buck, and then you whatever you win from that. Like you get like a shoulder mount, like it's something like that. Like it's just mixed together.
We kind of want to develop like a poker game. So we want to do an app.
Yeah.
And we're thinking like, oh man, it'd be really cool to do like a poker game where like you can get a group of friends together and then you're like punching certain age brackets or something like that, and then like that's like your hand or whatever. So we don't have all the details worked out. That's definitely down the line. I got to get this stupid thing just functioning to start with, which has been frustrating. But it's difficult because, you know, we only have one software developer. We don't have some big company that has all these developers that are working, around the clock. We just have one dude that we're paying, and I'm, hounding him as much as I can to try to get it.
And he's over there playing Jelly Crush or Jelly, whatever,
sure.
whatever.
Candy Crush.
Candy Crush. There it is. There it is. You got it. You got it.
Yeah.
I like the whole.
I'll get to it.
Yeah, I like the whole leaderboard aspect of it because I think my doe at one point was like the third oldest in PA at the time.
Cool.
I haven't looked in a while because I know you probably have done more deer since then. So I want to go back to see if I'm still in like the top 5 of the oldest here in Pennsylvania from last season.
Yeah.
And I'm like, now it's like just I did that once. Now it's like, oh man, I want that number 1 spot now. Like I want to get the oldest deer. 'Cause I think the oldest in PA that you guys aged that I can remember was like
12.
12.
Yeah.
12 and a half years.
Right.
Was like the oldest
That sounds
one.
right.
So I was like, 2 more years.
And see, like now that we have this database, I really want to have more options for people to like really kind of see a lot of that data, you know? So like, okay, whatever state you're in, you can see like, what is the oldest, what is the, average and some of that stuff so that you can kind of see where you're at for what you're harvesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's the opportunities are endless with that kind of stuff. But like you said, you just have to get it working first. And
gotta get it working first. I just gotta get these little kinks like worked out.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I like seeing that.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Like you said, we need to work on some kind of signal that we're both talking.
Just if you're holding the skull, you get to talk.
There we go. You just grab the skull, you talk.
Yeah. It's nice to. Thank you. It's nice to see. Like I've noticed, like every time like you post a deer. Now, granted, this is across all the states, but I'm seeing a lot of 5.5-year-old whitetail deer. It seems like okay, that's average. So it would be nice. I'm sure, I don't know if there's a way or if you have it or not at maybe some point just to see like, okay, this is the through deer age, this is the average whitetail in this state
US.
Or even the United States. And then, or you can break it down to whatever state that you're hunting. And then it'd be really cool to see that over so many years because I think at least I can't speak for every state, but I know in Pennsylvania, like I think a lot of the hunters, at least people maybe our age,
30.
They're 30s. They're getting more kind of not say picky, but like they want a mature deer. They're not just the first thing that walks by is getting an arrow or it's getting a bullet kind of deal. Like I mean, I would. That's still me. But like as a whole, as a whole.
Majority, I guess.
Yeah. So I feel like it'd be cool to see like, oh, okay, this is the average deer over these X amount of years, and this is kind of what they look like. And then to see if it changes, like, oh, the buck are getting bigger, but the age is getting smaller, and just it'd be something. I mean, granted, that'd be like a 5, 10, 15 year kind of deal, but that'd be something cool to see.
Exactly, and that's like all the kind of stuff that we're hoping to work towards as we just continue to improve our software, And it's a lot. I don't really. From an administrative standpoint, I hate the custom software. I don't like it. I feel like it's not great for sales. Like we can't, like you go to a website and there's like a pop-up or whatever, like buy this now. We can't do any of that with our website. So like from our standpoint, like in a way we're kind of like losing because of that. Like there's certain limitations. Like for our BOGO sale, we did a BOGO. Like we had to just rely on our customers' trust because our software could not add an extra kit, right? So I got a lot of emails about it and I had to like put up a lot of warnings and things like that. And fortunately, because a lot of our customers like have ordered from us a lot, like it really wasn't a problem. They knew we would send it, right?
Yeah.
And so everybody was super happy. But those kinds of limitations, it's like, if I had just like an out of the box software, it wouldn't be a problem. It would just add another one. It would. So those types of things are really frustrating, but I think overall what the customer is gaining with these statistics we're able to put together and you getting to see your deer in one place and, see your certificate preview and things like that, you wouldn't get that if we had an out-of-the-box software. So, we're doing it for you guys.
Yeah.
This is why we're doing it for you. It's certainly not for me. So I am over it.
So with the intick of Instagram and, everyone sending in pictures, does that correlate to business? Like, because I always that's one thing that's never really asked in these podcasts is like, how's business type of thing? Like, how, does it correlate?
Yeah, I would say business is definitely really good. We had
Okay.
a great summer, far better than usual.
Right.
And honestly, like we're just getting better at it,
Yep.
right? So we're getting better at emailing our customers and
Yeah.
like having sales. Like we had our first sales pretty much ever this year. We've never really ran sales and like, hey, like some inspirational stuff to get people to buy stuff. We've never done that before because
Yeah.
we've been so busy working on infrastructure. But we have a functioning software presently,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a brand new lab that's all set up. We have new staff that are amazing.
Yeah.
And so we're like good. And then now Chad's like not as distracted. So he's able to do things and we work as a team. So now we're finally like just getting a little bit better, I think, at more of the business aspect.
Okay.
So yeah, business is doing really well. I anticipate we're going to have a pretty good year this year. Summer was much better than usual.
Yep.
And so that's encouraging. And our BOGO sale was far more popular than we thought it would be. And so that was exciting. And we're running a couple more sales. I think we're having a anniversary sale. So it's our 20-year anniversary. So we're going to be giving out a gift for purchases over a certain amount. So
Oh, wow. Impressive.
yes, for our 20th anniversary.
And when will that be?
20 years. I think Chad and I are going to be working on the sale tomorrow, so
Okay.
it'll be coming out in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. All right.
So,
All right. We'll make sure to share that. Yeah. That's pretty cool. That's 20 years in business. I mean, that's probably like you're still a mom and pop thing, like that's with my job. I see a lot of mom and pop shops going out of business, and I love seeing mom and pop shops. I put quotation marks around shop because you're bigger than a shop,
Yeah.
When you're in a booming industry, put it that way right now, like hunting is booming right now, as we just saw this past weekend.
Yep.
This is being recorded August 14th. So everyone knows.
Yes.
But yeah, it's booming. And it's cool to see. It's good to see someone with science and actually seeing the, age of a deer.
Mm-hmm.
It's something cool to see. Not just a deer. It could be elk, it could be bear, like you said.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We can age anything. Yeah, and so even though the business has been running for 20 years, I've only owned it for 6.
Yeah.
So Henry and Mary Chigi had started the business from scratch. They built it up and just built this incredible brand with incredible customers. And then we took it over and rocked the boat a bunch, and it was really crazy and fun, and it's just gotten better and better and better, and we have a lot of really fun, loyal customers, and we're gaining new people all the time. And it's always exciting when people call in and they're like, oh my god, I just found out about you, this is the coolest thing, I'm so excited. And I'm like, sweet, dude, I'm so excited now too. Call me tomorrow. Call me back tomorrow. I needed that boost today. That was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
They're like pumping me up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's great to hear that, because like you see that, see companies start up all the time, or like ones that have been in business and they all of a sudden just go out. Like there's been a few hunting businesses that have gone out of business in the last couple of years because like, other companies come around and push them out. So,
and also like if you're competing in something like that is more like, for example, like trail cameras, right? There's like a million trail camera companies out there. There's not that many people doing deer aging teeth. So it's fine. Like we don't have that much competition. So that helps too, right? And also like, I don't know if I told you this before. I think I did, but Deer Age is actually our second company. So my primary company is called Nationwide Histology, and we actually do tissue work for all of the top universities across the U.S. So like when they're doing research studies, like I have rat testicles sitting right here on my desk.
Wait, hold that back up again. I never saw rat testicles before.
They're in a block, so they're cut in half. That's like
it looks like little eggs.
That looks like a
they're like
square
little
egg.
eggs, little rat eggs.
That's an image I'll never get out now.
Wait.
Yeah. So
wait, you said rat testicles, right?
Rat testicles.
Okay. All right. Because you said eggs there, and I was like, wait a second.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
A white egg and the yolk.
All right. I just want to make sure I heard it correctly. Okay.
Here you go, listeners. Image.
So that's what you look at. You look at the testicles of rats.
Yeah. So we look at everything. So we take like we have a big project coming in at the worst possible time.
Yeah. Obviously.
So a pharmaceutical company is wanting us to do this big drug study. And they're going to be sending in from November to January.
Ooh.
And it's like,
That's like,
I think something like 1,200 tissues or something like that. And it's a lot. And then each one, there's like a bunch of different parameters that my pathologist has to look at. And they send the mouse whole. So we have to like dissect the mouse and like get all the different tissues out of there and get them done. So, we do a lot more than just deer age here. We're definitely tissue experts. So we know all of it. That's why our process is so smooth and so fast and also so accurate, because we're not just like biologists that started like playing with tissue. Like we started with tissue and then we're like, oh, we can do this too with it. Right. So, so our slides are really quality, and then we have the digital slide scanning capabilities, which I don't know if we had the digital slide scanner before when you and I talked.
You said I think you did have it. You were saying how you could pull it up and look at it. Yeah,
we maybe just got it, and so that's really been a game changer for us because, well, first of all, I'm not going blind reading slides, so that's helpful. That's super helpful. But like we can just pull up slides so much quicker too, and everything's just more organized with that barcode because the scanner reads the barcode. So, when people send in their barcoded stuff, like this guy here, I just scan it under this thing and it pulls up the slide instantly. So I can just beep, 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 and read through, and there's no mistakes, right? You're not writing down a number and transposing it or anything like that. You're just scanning and going along. So our capacity has really grown. We have a lot more skilled technicians now. Our lead histotechnologist was trained at the Mayo Clinic. She's incredible.
Wow.
So we have very, very amazing staff and a brand new laboratory that is just amazing. Chad built it for us and it's fantastic.
With his bare hands?
He did build it with his bare hands.
Wow. That's wow. Okay.
Yes, he's in between driving train all night long. I really don't know how he does it.
Yeah. Wow.
That is awesome.
That's crazy. So like, do you have this part interests me here because like you don't really hear about like people being hired by labs and all that kind of stuff. How does one go about going to college? I imagine you have to go to college for this kind of stuff. How does one go to college, and then how do they apply to like work for like, let's say they want to work for Deer Age? Are they really then working for both companies at that point?
Yeah, so typically everyone who works here actually is employed by Nationwide Histology.
Okay.
So Nationwide Histology is the primary parent company.
Yeah.
And then Deer Age is like our co-brand.
Gotcha.
Right. Mm-hmm. So really like Deer Age is just simply because, how boring would it be to just go to the Nationwide Histology website and like read all this science crap, right? Like you guys want to talk about the deer and why you're doing this and stuff like that. So we needed a whole co-brand, and also Deer Age was its own company when we acquired it. So we just kept that revamped up the brand and then ran with that. So everyone that works here works for Nationwide Histology. And then, so I don't know, I am just gifted with getting good employees. I guess I've always had really good employees. And then one of our employees retired, and she retired in the summer, which summer's slower, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I don't 100% know what on earth I was thinking, but I was like, I'm just going to not replace her for a while and do everything myself. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but it was a terrible plan. I was like falling behind and starting to panic. So there's actually a histology forum, because histology is a fairly small group even in the world. There's not that many people.
Right, I would imagine.
Yeah, and so I reached out to the histology forum and I was like, hey, is there anyone in Missoula, Montana that would maybe want to come in and at least help me catch up this work? And that's how I found Michaela. She was unhappy with her job and she came and worked for me. And so she's been here since October, and we just clicked immediately because she has the kind of quality that, you always say like, I wish I could just duplicate myself.
Right. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Kayla is my little mini. She's so perfect. And like, she like her quality, like, I'm just like, girl, oh man, you're just so good.
Right.
And so it's great because now it's like, I'm not having to like micromanage very much, which is helping also with business because she's really taking care of that. And then because she's worked out in all the hospitals, like the local hospitals, she knows people. So now we have 2 additional techs that come in, as like fill-in, or they come in part-time, so that as our stuff amps up, we have extra help and people that are coming in, so we can handle a lot more volume. So it's been really good.
Yeah.
I'm always blessed with good staff, but I treat everybody really good, so I think they like it here.
Now, for any listener who is listening and has, histology degree, I guess it's a histology degree. I'm no scientist, so I don't know.
Microbiology.
Okay.
So histology is actually like a certification. So
okay.
I have a degree in microbiology.
Okay.
And then after school, I was, qualified to work in the diagnostic histology lab. Even though I had never heard of it, I didn't even know what histology was.
Okay.
They did on-the-job training, and then that's how I got my certificate. So a lot of people are trained on the job, but you have to have a bachelor's degree to get like an HTL certificate.
Okay.
So Michaela has her HTL certificate. She has a bachelor's degree, and she also has a master's degree. So she helps us with like a lot of our bigger research projects.
Okay.
As well.
Nice.
Okay.
So highly qualified staff working here.
So if anyone is looking for a job in that, can they email you and
Sure.
Okay. There we
you
go.
go.
I'm not looking for a job in that.
Yeah, no.
But we have a friend who
I'm not
might.
looking for a job in that.
Yeah.
He has his master's in biology, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't mind moving, or you want to set
Montana?
up. I'm sure.
I'm sure he would love that.
He'd love
You
that.
like the Montana? Who doesn't want to live in Montana?
Yeah. Do you want to set a lab up in PA?
Yeah, instead of lab in PA. Yeah.
I actually had originally thought about that, like having, because even with nationwide histology, I had thought of having like other branches, and I had two originally. So when I moved to Missoula, I had a branch in Missoula, and then I had a branch in Spokane, and it was hell. It was seriously so awful, because it's so hard to manage a place when you're not there every day. And then I was having to drive all the time. And then I was like, what the hell am I even thinking? Everyone can ship to one location.
Yeah.
That was dumb. Like, I was paying 2 rents for nothing. So yeah, that plan of the multiple branches, that plan won't be happening.
Yeah, it's not like your restaurant having multiple chains. You just need one location where they can ship it to. So yeah, it makes sense.
Exactly.
So stupid question: is nationwide? What is it? Nationwide.
Nationwide histology.
There we go. I just drew a blank. Is that related to some connection to Nationwide Insurance?
No, but my kids always say Nationwide is on your side. And that's like, yes,
I was thinking that, but I wanted to ask. Because I was like, well, maybe Heather has something to do with the insurance going up and deer being hit on the road, and
no wonder business is booming.
No wonder business is booming.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. And I start aging every deer that people nail with their cars.
Exactly.
Yeah, I should pitch that to the insurance company.
The average,
you should, I'm aging all these deer. You guys are just, I'm helping out with insurance claims right now.
Reaping the benefits there.
Yep, reaping the benefits.
The average age of a car hit deer is 3 years old.
That would be pretty cool to know.
Hit by a truck is 5.
You know what's so funny? We actually added on our certificate customization, like you can say harvested by, found by, or hit by, because people have set in stuff that they've hit. Yeah.
So I have a really really kind of sad story. What's looking? Oh, this
one is it?
No, it's the. I don't know where the rack is. This rack.
That rack. Okay,
that rack.
It's just the rack
Yeah.
left.
He was a nice buck.
It was.
So I was driving past to get groceries one day. There's a field on my right, and it's like 1 o'clock. All right. I looked in the field. Beautiful buck in velvet walking in the field. I like slow down, obviously, because I'm a hunter, and I slow down really fast to see it. But then I have to keep going, get groceries, come back, don't see that deer in the field there. So then me and my wife and my daughter and my dog are going camping. We drive past this field, and as we're driving past, what's along the side of the road?
That deer.
This beautiful buck that I was actually going to ask permission to hunt this area the next week.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my gosh. And my wife, she was like, oh my gosh, I almost started crying for you. And I told her, I'm not crying. You're crying.
I'm not crying. You're crying.
I'm crying.
But no, and then I come back 3 days later after we're done camping, and the buck's not there anymore. So obviously someone picked it up. But to have that beautiful buck in velvet right there, if I didn't have a 29-foot camper behind me at the time, I probably would have
Right?
pulled over and picked that thing up because that was
Come on, man.
Yeah.
that
You
was
can
just
do better. You just pull that thing into the ditch. You'll be all right.
there was a Dollar General right there I could have pulled into quick, but yet,
Yeah,
I don't
fine.
think it wouldn't have worked.
Ah,
I would have had to unhook the camper, level it all out, pretty much empty my truck bed out, get the deer back home, then butcher real quick, then leave, and it just wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
well, that's all right. You throw it
Family
in
the
the
family
camper.
would have been a little stinky about that. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
going camping.
Put it on the back of the truck while I go camping. When I get the campsite, then I'll butcher at the campsite.
There you go.
Yes, I see nothing wrong with that.
No,
Now, see,
nothing.
Get a
there's
couple
the
bags of
plan
ice
right
on the way
there.
up. You're good to go.
Golden pony
Yeah,
boy.
you got
Golden
this.
Boney boy.
So, Heather, is there anything else we didn't really cover that you really want people to know about Deer Age or Wildlife Labs in general?
I mean, besides the obvious that we're awesome, I don't know. I
Clearly,
can't really
yep.
think of anything.
Yeah. yeah. All right. So,
It's
go ahead.
cool. It's fun.
Yep.
It's useful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very useful. And the fact that you partnered, you just started working with NDA too, National Deer Association. Like that's huge because that's not a one state thing. That's all over. Like in PA, we think of NDA as like a PA thing because there's certain people who work for NDA that are just located in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
But really, there's National Deer Association everywhere.
Everywhere.
National.
Yep,
Everywhere.
Exactly.
Boom.
Hence,
Yep,
hence the
they're-
name.
They're a pretty big deal, and their values definitely align with ours. So we
Yep.
just came out with a co-branded kit
Okay.
that will benefit their organization.
Nice.
I'll be getting those in the next couple of weeks, probably.
Nice.
So yeah, we'll be launching that too. With this software.
Eye roll. Eye
Yeah,
roll.
well,
I'll blur the eye rolls out so the software guy doesn't see it.
I'll let him see it. He deserves to see it.
So, was before we end the podcast, back to the molars and the grinding them down and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Wasn't the NDA part of that with the?
So they do still subscribe to
Okay.
molar aging. However, they even agree that the only truly accurate way is above 2.5 to
Okay.
send it in. So yeah, I mean, if you want to be accurate, like they will do like some deer classing,
Right.
basically. So
Yep.
they'll classify different deer based on their molars. But if you want an actual age, they are definitely all about the cement aging. So
I would hope so. Now if they're working with you.
yeah.
yeah, definitely. Right?
So-
Yeah. No, they were super stoked about it. We actually went on their podcast,
Yeah.
Coffee and Beer,
Yep.
and that's how I kind of like got together with them on that and stuff. So yeah, it's been super fun just kind of seeing some of these different. You guys though, you're my first re-podcast.
Re-podcast.
Oh.
Re-podcast.
Nice.
I've never been
Nice.
on another podcast twice.
I've been on one twice.
No.
I've been on a podcast twice. I have yet to be invited on the NDA Coffee and Deer though podcast.
Yeah.
A little disappointed about that. Just because I like coffee and I like deer.
Yeah. Come on now.
Yeah,
But
I like coffee. I like deer. What the hell?
yeah.
Come on.
Where's
Heather.
my invite?
Yeah, Heather, it's been awesome having you on again. Where can people follow you at? Even the website too, to get a hold of you and to get a kit.
Yeah, so you can follow us on Instagram at Wildlife Labs, Facebook at Deer Age, and then we're deerage.com. Just go on there and get yourself an aging kit and get yourself ready for this fall.
And they can buy a kill kit on there too, right?
Oh, yep.
There we go. There we go. Hold up for the camera there, Ethan. Thanks. What's her name?
Vanna White.
Vanna White.
Call me
Thanks, Vanna.
Call me Vanna.
All right. See ya, Heather.